Hello friends, welcome back to Rick's Garage. If you saw my last video I posted, I was working on this 2015 Fiesta. Had a problem with overheating, and in that video we had determined that the electric fan was defective. So I promised another video when I did indeed get the new fan. That has occurred. I do have the fan. It's not a new one. I got it from my local salvage yard. As I said in the last video, the young lady that owns this car doesn't have a huge amount of money. The new fan would have been about $120, and I was able to find a used fan at the local salvage yard for 50 bucks. So I'm going to try to install it, and that's what this video is about here today. What you see here is the fan I just purchased at the local salvage yard. Whenever you buy an electronic or electric part like this, make sure they put their mark on it, so if it doesn't work you can return it without any question. I'm going to use this little 12 volt battery to test it, but first I want to make sure I've got at least 12.5 volts. A fully charged 12 volt battery should put out 12.5 volts. I don't know if the camera is aimed to see the multimeter. Yeah, it looks like you can see it. Alright, so we're going to check it and see what we got for voltage here on it. It's 11.8. It's probably close enough. So let's see if it works. Alright, so we're going to... I've already plugged in a couple of leads. And we're going to jump this fan we purchased from the salvage yard. Just make sure your fingers aren't in there and no wires are in there, so that it you don't get hurt or damaged the device. So I'm going to hook up my positive lead first. And now I'm going to carefully touch the negative lead, and hopefully this fan will come on. And it does. Beautiful. That's all I need to know, that it works. As you recall from our last video, the other fan would not come on. The other thing you want to make sure when you get it from the salvage yard, that it still has its weights on it, its balancing weights. See, there's one there and a couple there. Those make sure that it stays balanced. So this fan is indeed working, and we're going to go ahead and install it. We're going to go ahead and remove this ductwork here. It looks like we need to get this air filter housing out of the way. Now I looked online, there weren't a lot of videos on how to do that, but there were a couple, and on one of them the person went ahead and drained the coolant. On both of them, actually. I don't understand why that's necessary, so I'm going to try to avoid that. It looks like the best way to slip the fan out is from underneath. So I'm going to try to do that without draining the coolant. We'll see how that works out. Oh, this is being a little stubborn. There we go. Alright, we got that out of the way. Okay, I guess I can stay right there. That's not going to hurt anything. Alright, next we're going to take the top cover off. For that, it looks like we need a Torx screwdriver. Okay, I'm using a number 20. And that's coming off quite easily. I suppose if you needed to replace your air filter, now would be the time to do it, where we're taking this cover off anyway. I don't think you have to take these all the way out. But I'm going to take that one out. It's kind of loose, so I guess they stay in. So you don't need to take them all the way out. They think they'll stay right with the box itself. And I probably have one more in this corner. It's unusual. Usually most cars have some sort of clip to undo to take this off. But one of Ford's better ideas is to have little screws. Alright, let's see if this will pull off of there. Yep, very good. Alright, we'll put that aside. And let's get the air filter out of the way. This air filter looks like it's been recently replaced, so we're not going to worry about it. So it looks like this box will just pull right out of here. Maybe I need something to pry up on it a little bit. Be careful not to break it. I don't want to be going back to the salvage yard for one of these. Alright, that one's loose. And I'm sure there are others. Looks like we got a little bit of duct work right here to disconnect. There we go. Now with that off, we should be able to pop this housing right out of there. And there we go. Okay. And we got one. There we go. It's coming out. There it is. It's out. All right. So it looks like we had three things holding this in. One here in the front, one here to your driver's side, and one here to your passenger side. And we've got this little hose that needs to come out. Well, folks, I hate to admit this, but I'm absolutely stumped by how to get this damn connection off. So I'm just going to disconnect the hose from the other end. So I'm just going to take a little pair of pliers and undo this clamp right here. I have no idea how to undo this this connection. It's probably one of Ford's ideas where you need a special tool to get it off. But anyway, we didn't need to take it off. The other side of the hose came off quite easily. All right, so with all that stuff out of the way, we're gonna next unclip the wiring harness. So I'm gonna take my panel removal tool. There's one right there. It's hard to get enough light in here because everything in this car is made out of plastic and I don't have many places to stick my lights. All right, that's out. I think there's one more just below it. Probably blocking your view. I apologize for that. Yeah, that's out. See what else we got. All right, there's probably something from underneath. So I'm going to go underneath there and see what we have. I really don't see any need to drain the coolant. I don't understand why they're doing that. Okay, we're back under the car. And we've got a couple of more of those connections to pull off. One there. And one there. Very good. Okay. So now we've got just the plug. And as you saw in my other video, there's a little tab up here. You just pull out and the plug comes right off. Okay, so that's done. So now we're going to go back up top and we just got a couple of clips to undo there, and this thing we should lift up a little bit and slide it right out through here Hopefully. I don't really see any reason why we need to drain the coolant. Alright, we've got two of these little clips to undo to release the fan housing. You just pull up on it. And then there's one over on the other side here. Let me turn the camera a little bit. There's one right here, which I'm blocking your view. And let's get this wiring harness out of the way. Oh, looks like it's not hurting anything. So that's free, and this is free. So now we have to lift it up out of its little holding in the bottom. Now that's the only reason I can see we possibly might have to undo the hose, is to give us room to pull this up. So let's see if it'll come out of there. Well, one side's out. Okay, we're back underneath, and I'm hopeful that this fan shroud will pull right out without having to undo the radiator, and it does. Yeah, so I don't understand why in that other video I saw they had to drain the radiator. This came right out very easily. So we're halfway through it. Okay, we're back outside, and just for the fun of it, I'm going to retest the old fan. In the background you see the fan we just purchased from the salvage yard. I've got the leads hooked up, and I'm going to go ahead and connect the negative. I've already got the positive connected, and we're going to double check to make sure this fan does not actually work. And it's hooked up and we're getting absolutely nothing. So looks like that indeed was the problem, a bad fan. Alright, so we got the old one out without having to undo the coolant line, so I'm hoping we can shoehorn this in here and repeat the procedure for the replacement one. Set the car up a little higher, right? Get a little more elbow room here. There we go. Let's get this out of the way. This has to go around that. Okay. So now we're going to try to get these things in their slots. And it looks like that's lining up okay. Looks like this one needs to come in a little bit, and these don't want to be down too low to begin with. So there's little clips here. You want to make sure they don't clip in before you get the top ones clipped in. So I'm going to leave that right on the edge where that isn't quite in, and you want it in the slot, but you don't want it all the way down. Alright, let's try that. There we go. Alright, that one's clipped in. This one's clipped in. So we're all clipped in up top here. So let's check out the bottom. And those are in where those are supposed to be. Yeah, so it looks like we were indeed able to install this without having to drain the coolant. I really don't understand why they did that on the other videos I saw. So let's go ahead and stick these in, these little let's see, there's one that goes right there. That one's in. There's another one that goes right here. That one's in. Let's put our plug back in. Okay, our plug is in. And these are all connected down here, so looks like all the work to be left is all upstairs. So let's go forward and do that. So right here were the little clips that I was talking about when I had the camera underneath the car. I had to slip these in. There's one here and there's one on the other side. Right about there. So now that's left to do is to plug in the rest of these wire harnesses. Let's see, we got one that goes right there. So we got one more that goes right there. You didn't see that off camera. But these wire harnesses are all plugged back in. So now it's a matter of putting the air filter box back in, and we'll be done. All right here are where those the air box plugs into, and I'm going to put a little dab of WD-40 right there and right here so that it'll go in a little easier. Okay, we're ready to lower the air filter box back in. As you just saw, I lubricated the connection points. Easier said than done. Got to be a trick to shoehorning it in there. I got it out of there, so I should be able to get it in. There it goes. Okay. Let's get this in place. Alright. There, that's in. That slipped in. Alright, so it went in a little bit easier than it came out. That's back in place. So now, let's reconnect that hose I had trouble with. I'm really disappointed I wasn't able to disconnect that connection, but I was able to get it up here. So I guess that's all right. So let's put that back in. There. Reconnect the clip. A pair of pliers. There, okay, that's reconnected. So now we'll put the air filter back in and the cover back on. Like I say, if you think you need to replace your air filter, now's the time to do it. Now we'll stick the air filter cover back in. There, and we need that number 20 torque screwdriver. Screw these screws back in. Ford's a better idea to use screws instead of clips. You can tell I don't like Fords. I myself am a Chrysler man. Do you know what I do with my Chryslers daily? I drive them. Do you know what I do with my Fords daily? Is I fix them. What's that old joke they say, fix or repair daily on a Ford? That's what it stands for. One more of these screws to do. We got a little clamp to replace and we're done. And the last thing is to see if the fan does indeed come on now to keep the car cool. Don't forget to replace this dipstick if you pulled it out. Okay, we got to replace that clamp right there. Little screwdriver. There we go. This clamp has a little slot that it's got to fit into right there, so make sure you do that when you tighten it up. Okay, and this thing has to clip into there, don't forget that. Okay, so it looks like this job is done. The only thing remaining to do is to take the car for a little test drive, get it up to operating temperature, and then see if the fan does indeed come on by itself when we idle in the driveway. So I'll come back when I'm ready to do that. Okay friends, I apologize for the handheld camera, but I wanted you to see that the fan is indeed running. I took the car for a little test drive, got it up to operating temperature, brought it in the driveway, and the fan's already working. So I want to thank you once again for watching Rick's Garage. To your left, I'm going to post a couple of videos. If you find them of interest, feel free to click on them. And to your right will be my avatar in the form of my trusty German Shepherd. Feel free to click on that if you wish to subscribe. So I hope in the near future to see you again. Thanks for watching.